everybody, and welcome to Just Ask Mrs. Hurlbut, episode 26. Our topic today is those three words. I can guess that you probably figured out what those three words are. So new year, not a lot of changes, but I've got family in town, so I'm really happy to tell you that Shay is back in the house. Hi, Shay.
Hello. Did the first episode, and now I'm on episode 26.
The first of the second round.
And first of the new year. Look at me.
And we're both really rusty. Took some time off, so bear with us. We almost didn't have sound, but we figured it out.
We're here.
So the reason that this topic is even happening is because Shay and I have been having this conversation about the words I love you. And my mind is blown by how differently your generation approaches it than my generation ever did. I had no idea there was even more than one way to approach it. So here we are. So we found some questions and we consolidated them all into this episode, and here we go. Shay, are you ready?
Yeah. All right. Number 1, when is the best time to tell your romantic partner, I love you?
Well, I thought I had that answer, and I'm going to go ahead and share my answer because, as per usual, it's countercultural. But I'm also standing here in my own defense to say that the counter that I'm talking about is the right one. So
before we've even talked,
I know.
Like, I'm right.
Somebody said, we did some Q&As over the break, and somebody asked me a question. I don't know if you remember what it was, but they used a term that I hadn't heard before.
Like a situationship?
Not that one. It was another one. And I was like, I don't know what that means. So I looked it up, and it was like, what's your hard nose? Like, what do you have a hard stance on?
Like your red flags?
Now we'll have to look back at it. But this is the one.
Okay.
This is the big one. I should have said it, but I didn't think about it till afterwards. So when is the right time to say I love you? It all depends on the couple and where they're at. But in my humble opinion, it's a lot sooner than you all think it is. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I thought back about when my husband and I said we loved each other, and this will be a really great time to have him on as a guest because he probably remembers that. But we were 1 month into our relationship. 1 month. And that was a month spent with a lot of time engaging in conversation, engaging in plans for what we want out of our lives. And yes, we were very young. But the key was we did that first. The I love you came before anything else came as far as the sacredness or the intimacy of the relationship, which is why it blows my mind that it's so late now. So in my humble opinion, it's earlier than later. It should be as soon as you think that this person could potentially be a very important person in your future, if not the important person. Now, I knew at a very young age and very early on with Phil. But I still say, don't wait. And I'm sure we'll talk about this more in a little bit because that puts you in a very vulnerable position. And again, I'm sorry Phil's not here because he said it first. But I said it immediately. I don't even think I inhaled before I repeated it back to him. I might have even overlapped it. We both absolutely positively knew, but it was early. And it was before there was still a lot we didn't know about each other, but we felt it. So what do you think, Shay? I'm so interested in knowing what somebody from well, we've already talked, but your generation.
Well, over time we never had this conversation. I think obviously that all sounds super great in theory. Like, yeah, the love comes first, but I think now, unfortunately, intimacy happens a lot sooner, and it's not the waiting for the intimacy and you're saying I love you because it's all about talking about future and feelings and emotions. Like, a lot of times that intimacy happens first. So I think you've already kind of broken that barrier, and now it's like, all right, well, if I say it too soon, am I coming off as clingy, or am I now potentially putting someone in a position where I'm saying that I'm ready for this long-term commitment when maybe they're not ready? And I think it has this effect on some people, not speaking from experience, but where you hear those words and sometimes it can be scary because it's like, all right, this person now loves me, and if I maybe am not at that same level or same stage in the relationship, do we need to break this off because it's now this
Right.
big serious thing?
Right. But the words and the thought that goes behind that, yes, it's very complicated and it's very risky. I agree. The problem is that physical intimacy is the easiest part of a relationship, the absolute easiest part, and yet it's the one that your generation jumps into first, where my generation pushed it back. And there are still many people in this generation, especially people I've gotten my hands on, that see the value in putting off the physical intimacy to allow the organic dynamic to grow in a verbal way, where I'm going to express my feelings before I act on them, if that makes any sense. I think we've got it backwards. I think this generation has it backwards, and I'm going to fight for this one. Hear me out. Whether you agree or disagree, it's up to you, and feel free to comment. But we'll stop there because I have a funny feeling there's more questions coming that are similar.
Yes. Well, the second question was, why is saying I love you often treated as a big milestone rather than a natural feeling?
I mean, it is a big milestone.
Huge.
It is. But there's nothing wrong with saying it early. And just because you say it, even if you feel it 110%, it doesn't make light of it. And it doesn't mean you're locking yourself into a forever relationship. I was 17 when I said it to my husband. And I don't remember ever saying it to anybody before that.
Yeah, but you saying if you're feeling it in that moment, like...
It wasn't in a moment. It was definitely something, it should be something that you really discern.
Yeah.
But you should be able to say, I love you. I feel this deep connection to you without having unearthed every mystery there is about you. You know each other's value system, hopefully, if you're communicating well. The question was, when is it? No, sorry.
Why is it such a big milestone?
So it is a milestone. And yes, you don't want to say it until you're sure. It's like getting married. You don't want to propose to somebody if you're not 100% sure they're going to say yes. I love you is the same way. You're not going to say I love you to somebody if you're not pretty darn certain that they feel the same way. And the only way to know that is to be communicating regularly about what's important in your life and not keeping it surface level. People who hook up and keep it surface level, yeah, they're not going to have a clue how the other person's feeling. But if from the get-go you are intentional with that relationship, again, I was 17, and yes, it's unusual, especially now, but it's not impossible to say, I'm 17, I know what I deserve, I know what I want, this is wonderful, I don't want to see it end, my feelings for you are growing in ways that I never imagined, and I believe you feel the same way, so I'm going to say, I love you, with the full expectation I'm going to hear it back, and if I don't, I hope to hear it very soon.
So if you didn't, that's a great question though. So if you didn't hear it back in that moment, does that then raise a concern for you? Like, all right, wait now, because I think that is the big fear, right? You say it and you're the first one to say it, and say they don't reciprocate that right away, which is fair. You shouldn't say it, like you said, if you're not feeling it.
Right.
But then in your mind, is that a big, oh no, am I now wanting things that they don't want? Am I moving too fast? Because I think that's what a lot of people think, and that's why it is this big milestone, is the fear of it not being reciprocated, or you're not at the same stage.
But if you're on the same page emotionally and you're talking to each other and you've been on this journey together for however long it's been, let's say it's been 3 months, and you've guarded your heart and you've taken things very slowly, and one person says I love you, the chances of the other person saying I love you are very good. I'm thinking, right when you said that, it reminded me of back when I used to watch The Bachelor, right, or The Bachelorette. And let's say it was The Bachelor, and she would say she loved him, and he'd be like,
yeah,
right? And he wouldn't know how to answer, partly because he wasn't really allowed to, or he didn't want to say it to just one person and then give it away that that's the person he wanted to marry. I mean, that's TV. That's not how it is in real life. And in real life, if you are building a relationship the way you should build a relationship, you will get the response you're looking for. Or maybe you're not looking for a response. Maybe is, I want you to know something. I'm feeling something and I want to share this with you, and you do not have to say anything back to me.
Right.
I need you to know that I love you. I am in love with you. And I'm in this. I'm invested.
Totally. I do think most people though are looking for that response back when you put yourself out there like that, you are looking. Ideally, you're looking for that response back.
And again, that goes back to, insecurities a little bit. When you're insecure about whether or not someone's going to respond the way you want them to respond, you're not pulling enough out of this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting ahead of yourself. And a lot of people do get ahead of themselves. And then they say, I love you. And then the other person feels trapped. If you're on the same page and you're talking to each other, you're communicating with each other with words, I'm telling you, the body parts are the easiest parts. They're so easy that they get in the way of everything else, in my humble opinion, that you forget how you feel about somebody, how you think about somebody, because all you know is their body is warm and wonderful and lovely, and that's all that matters. It's not all that matters. The words have to come out of your mouth comfortably, and the only way to do that is to build that relationship at that level, spiritually, emotionally, intelligently.
Right. And then last thing, and I know we have more questions, but I think you talk about the differences in generation. I also think now, unfortunately, we talk about how things are happening a little later than they used to. And I think that does have something to do with it as well. Is that, now it's the normal is maybe after 6 months or so when you're getting kind of, I think that's when you normally hear people starting to like break that barrier.
It's crazy to me because I know what else they're up to during those 6 months. They're spending every night at each other's houses.
No.
How is that? Sorry, you are not allowed into my bedroom if you haven't entered my heart. Oh my goodness.
Right. But I think it just takes, people are taking a little bit longer. But you say, have those conversations. Make sure you're on the same page. Like, take your time. Make sure you're ready. You're certain. And I do think our generation takes a little bit longer to do that.
I'm just learning this in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And again, my mind is blown. I'm like, that has to be a topic.
Yeah.
And it has to be with you because you and I were the ones talking about it.
Yeah.
It happens a lot where I find myself going, wait, time out. When did this happen? How did I miss that memo? Because in my little, brain that's only knows the experiences that I've had, no. That's the opposite of that. It's the opposite. You want to express your love for somebody so that the relationship can blossom. You don't blossom and express your love. And yet that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Shay, it's blowing my mind. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Next.
Give me another one.
Why am I so afraid to tell my boyfriend that I love him?
Well, obviously, you're in this generation. And, if you don't know if he feels the same, you're afraid. If you think he's going to reject you, you're afraid. And the only way that's going to happen is if you're not front loading this information. Mm-hmm. You aren't growing together in a way that when you do say it, there's this freedom in stating what is now the obvious.
Yeah.
But if you're afraid that your partner is not going to say it back, which is what I think you asked, I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it. I would backpedal a little bit. I'd revisit that. And then I'd maybe stop and think about what you have allowed to happen in that relationship. How far has this relationship gone that your heart is invested and his isn't? Where has all your energy been? Are you just hooking up? Are you hanging out with friends? Or are you actually spending quality time together, fully dressed, talking to each other?
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a couple of stigmas that are associated with this too. Is that
talk to me about
women talk about their feelings more than men do. So that's the stigma. Not saying that that's actually factual, but in a lot of cases, it's like women are known to be more emotional. So if you talk about all these feelings and these emotions, are you coming off too strong? Are you coming off too emotional? And then there's obviously, I think, the fear too. Like a lot of people, speaking from experience, like I knew I loved Toby before he said it to me, but I was for sure gonna wait until he said it to me first, because I don't know if the fear of maybe rejection is, I don't want to say stronger because rejection hurts regardless, but I think because again, women, there's that stigma that we're more emotional, that if you say it first and you're like, it's 2 months or a month in, you've been dating for a month and you're
coming
like,
in hot.
I love you. Yeah. It's like this stigma of like, whoa. So it's, you also, most of the time, I feel like women do wait for the man to say it first.
But I'm certain that also works the other way around. I only know
Totally.
because I have students just this year who came to me and said, I don't know what to do because he's coming in hot.
Love
he's
that.
he's so crazy about me, and I am still like at the beginning stages of deciding whether or not I want to see him again. So I was like, okay, well, you need to give yourself that space because he is coming on too strong. And sometimes we act out of desperation. If we say we love somebody, we're locked in.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people receive it that way and they think they're locked in. That can't be the reason that you say it.
Yeah.
You have to truly feel what's happening between you, not what you feel for that person, but the combination of those feelings for each other. And if you're in a healthy, balanced relationship, you should be able to say that with confidence. And if you're not confident, you better reevaluate that relationship.
Totally. Well, I think this ties in really great with the next question, which is why is there such a stigma around the words "I love you"?
Again, this is new information that you gave me or somebody gave me.
Not stigma. I think just when you and I were talking, it's, I think it's sometimes surprising to hear that people don't say it until a little bit later.
I think you guys, your generation, believe it's loaded. Like it comes with a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Where I see it much more simply.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as laying the foundation. You come together and you say, we love each other. Let's build something. But you guys, that's where I come from. You guys, this generation is more like, you say it, you're sealing the deal. And that's scary because now I feel like I'm locked in.
Yeah.
I have such an opposite way of looking at that. But again, I only know what I know, what I've lived. Yeah. But I still believe that it should be the foundation and not the finish line.
Right, which I do think, though, there is a lot to say about having a strong foundation on I like you. That the foundation started because I enjoy spending time with you. We get along, we mesh, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean, I do think that I like you, I like spending time with you, I'm really excited to see where this goes. And then you take it from I like you to I love you is a big step.
It is, but come on. Let me ask you this. I wasn't going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you. You said you knew when you loved Toby.
Yeah.
When did the light turn to love in your heart, in your brain? Months before, weeks before, days before, hours before?
He said it?
Before you were ready to say it, even though he said it first. I'm just saying, it's hard for me to say I like this person when we've been inseparable. And growing in so many other ways. I really like it.
Well, also, talking about our experiences, we were both very young. You said you were 17. I was 19. But the words
when did you fall in love with him?
I know, but the words "I love you" at 19, you're just, especially if you had never been in love before, and it's something that you're like, I'm like almost positive this is what it is. I don't really have a ton of experience, at least I didn't, to go back on. Is it too soon? You definitely ask questions. You're like, wait, when is the right time? And I think I definitely knew maybe a month or two before he said it, but I think he might have felt the same way, right? But again, you're 19.
You're treading. So. I get that. But in my brain, let's go back to the very beginning of a relationship. You go on your first date after whatever time it was before you got to the first date. I don't know. I remember coming home from my first date and going, I'm so in love with this guy.
Well, I also think first dates look a lot different nowadays.
I was so in love with him. I was never going to say I really like him. I said it for a week. I really like him. No, this is so much more than liking somebody.
Yeah. Well, and I think we also need to remember that different stages that you are in life could also affect this, right? When you're a teenager and when you're 17, 19, early 20s, right? You still have a lot of time.
I agree.
You can be like, you know what? I'm going to take my time here. And
I agree.
If you're in your mid to late 20s, you might think completely differently.
I agree. But the whole take my time should count for everything.
Yeah.
If you want to wait 6 months into a relationship before you want to be 100% sure you're in love with somebody, then you need to wait 6 months for everything else. That's where I'm coming from. And I know, hear her laughing. I know you're all laughing at me right now. I'm living in my little bubble. But this is what I truly, truly believe. And many people who break up, see, you guys never broke up.
No.
Many people who break up go, dang, I wish I hadn't invested everything that I invested. those 6 months that we were together before I said I love you and he didn't say it back.
Right, which I think is another side though to this argument is, let's say you did date somebody and within a month you were saying I love you and it was super exciting and you thought, all right, like we're in love with each other, it's great. 4 months go by, things do not work out, it's bad. Do you not think that people then are going to be a lot more hesitant in saying those things?
Because you use the words too lightly?
Well, not too lightly, but you were so positive and so convinced on something, felt so great about something, and it didn't work out, that I do think that can also affect how people approach these 3 words. It's like, I've said them before.
Okay.
I think that's
okay.
I think, that can also have a lot to do with how people feel about it, is if you've said it before, you were so confident in saying it, and it blows up. Now, next time you're in that position, I think you are going to be a little bit more hesitant.
I agree. I think that I always ask my students this: when all is said and done and you found your person, what history are you bringing into that relationship? I think it's a lot safer to say to the person that you're now crazy in love with and maybe planning a future with, I was in love 3 times before I met you. That's a lot less damaging than I've had 10 sex partners before I was with you. Do you hear what I'm saying? The words, if I were to say that to Phil when I fell in love with him, that I've been in love 3, he would have been like, great.
Yeah.
But if I had said, this was my sexual history, that changes. I don't know why I keep coming back to this, because in my mind, your generation is making the I love you more sacred than the physical intimacy.
Yeah.
And then they don't let the I love you come into play because this is easier than this, where I think it's the exact opposite.
Well, maybe some people aren't looking for love though, and they're just looking for intimacy.
Right, but if they're just looking for intimacy, they're probably not going to ever bother using the words I love you.
Right.
So I would think that's a moot point, right?
Totally.
Anyway, obviously you're getting my message here. I just want you all, I want to challenge, are there more questions?
There's one more, but
I just want
kind of already talked
I
about
want to challenge everybody to really maybe flip-flop the way you think about these words. I'm agreeing that they're sacred. I'm agreeing that they should be spoken at the right time with the right person under the best circumstances where it's going to be mutual. But every other aspect of what love and love making and all of that all should fall under the very same umbrella. And that's my challenge, is because right now it's church and state. Whoop! They're completely opposite. And you can all tell me to go jump in a lake, as I'm sure most of you will. But I just, food for thought, think about it. What's that last question, Shay?
Oh my gosh. Should I admit that I'm in love with a girl when our relationship, or boy, anyone, should I admit that I'm in love when our relationship began as a hookup?
Wow. Should you admit? I would only admit it if you're absolutely sure. Again, because it started out as a hookup. People tend to get blinded by the hookup, by the magic that is the physical intimacy, and give yourself the time to decide whether you're falling in love with this person for more than just their body. Is there an intellectual attraction? Is there a physical attraction? Is there a spiritual attraction? What are your value systems? Do you see a future with this person? Could this person, could you see them as your family or part of your family? I mean, absolutely one could turn into another. Right. Absolutely. I would never say a hookup would never equal a real relationship. It just takes work, because you'd have to set aside what you already know about this person and give energy to what you haven't learned about this person. And if the love comes, absolutely, go for it.
Yeah, almost like spending time outside of just the hookup part of the time that you're spending together. That's when you're gonna know.
I mean, it reminds me of so many romantic comedies, right? That start out that way, and then the relationship builds because you've set aside the easy part. It's the easy part. And if you couldn't wait and you had sex and now you want to build a relationship, nothing wrong with shelving that side of it and saying, okay, now I need to really figure out the hard stuff, the stuff that I want to take into a future. So I love you. Those are 3 powerful words, but don't misunderstand them. And don't put them out of order. That's all I ask.
Or be afraid of them.
Don't be afraid of them. No. It's a beautiful thing when you say I love you and you hear it back. and you get to grow in that relationship, and that's the person you get to say I love you to every day for the rest of your life, hopefully. Some of us,
Amen.
most of us, they're looking for it. Anyway, thank you for indulging me, Shay.
Yeah, I'm happy to help and be here. This was great.
Please send comments, guys, questions. This is a really good topic that we could go on and on about. And I got my dukes up. I'm ready. So if you want to argue this point with me, I won't change my mind, but I'll certainly hear what you have to say.
Great end.
So
Great
thank you,
finish.
everybody, and we'll see you soon.